Hello and welcome to the first episode of a new podcast called Funbearable. My name's Ray Harrington.
Hello, I'm Brad Rohr.
I'm Chuck Staten, and we haven't talked about how this is going to go. This intro.
No,
Can I say something up front?
you're already doing it. Go for it.
This is for the future. Please don't take this the wrong way.
Okay,
Like when I'm setting up a lot of stuff
here we go.
by myself
This is it.
while
This is
other people are just kind of sitting around.
The last first episode.
Just
of the
don't.
podcast.
I don't like it when someone's like, "Hey, can we go? Can we start?" Like when they're sitting there and they're like playing with their dick through their shorts or whatever the fuck you're doing over there. I mean, anyone, not you.
Anybody at all. Anybody at all.
Well,
They were my shorts.
What the hell?
Well, cargo pockets for a reason, right?
I'm just saying, you got one guy, he's technically savvy, knows how to do this stuff, providing the $1,000s of equipment. Everyone else, noodling, whatever they're doing.
Canoodling.
No reason to be like, hey, let's start this going. You know what I mean? Like the king is sitting there with the grapes and the feeding.
This is not a good start, right? I'd say this is a bad start.
This is just general, so we never fight in the future, so it doesn't happen another time.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That is fair.
You know what
Absolutely,
I mean?
yeah.
I don't want it to happen in the future.
I think the trickiness is like you chose to bring this up as soon as the mics were on, so you had like the safety of a presumed audience, right? And now I'm like, is this a bit or is it real?
It can be
And
half
I
and
don't
half.
know.
Brad will come tell you.
I would waffle on it and say it's part bit, part real.
And that's your new dance, right?
Yes.
You've been working on it. You've been working on your new dance. Do the waffle on it.
I am so afraid of confrontation that even my dance is a waffle of some
Brad
sort.
is so
Yeah,
afraid
the dance is fun. You just keep apologizing during it.
yeah.
Excuse me. You know how like a lot of times the dance will start with like clearing a space in the dance floor? Yours starts with you slowly backing out of the gym.
I'm
right?
just
So I'm
apologizing.
assuming it's a school dance.
Oh yeah.
Here's Brad.
I'm not allowed at them for a lot of reasons.
He's so scared of confrontation. He created this dance just to do whenever a confrontation
Yes,
comes up.
yeah.
It's just to avoid.
Yeah. So you don't, instead of like doing the Dougie, you want, if you're ever in a situation, if you're being mugged,
If somebody backs into my car in the parking lot and I see them, I'm like, oh, I could call them out, but I'm going to do the waffle on it.
yeah.
Do the waffle. That's what
Yeah.
he does. He screams it, and
Yeah.
that's how you know that he's in a
And
situation.
then there's
he doesn't
one
like.
clap, and then you just hear a lot of as he's doing the dance moves.
You know what? I would love to hear his 911 call on the news, where it's like, I think they're breaking in. They're breaking. Do the waffle.
5, 6, 7, 8.
And it's just the sound of being stabbed.
And you're saying, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry that
I'm so sorry.
my skin is so hard.
Stick to the routine.
Let me clean that knife for you. What happened? I don't know. I did the waffle. And then I got in the way of his knife multiple times.
So we got to talk about what we're doing here. We're starting a new podcast.
Yes, we are starting a new podcast. And I will say, this is like a first date in an arranged marriage. Right? We're
Only
like,
for Brad.
Yes.
Me and Ray are the parents and the grooms.
oh no.
It's a very
get that goat,
confusing.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we let's figure.
Wait, is my dowry only one goat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't even get to keep it. We have to give it back.
It's a borrowed goat.
It's a loner goat.
We've been doing podcasts for a long time. We're all kind of old. Is it old queens, old hats? What's it called when you're
Old queens?
Can you
Is
be
that what
an
you
old-
just said?
what are you an
No,
old?
that's a very different thing, especially since, while we're recording this, we just did pass through Pride Month.
Yeah.
And
Really?
I was just saying.
an old queen is a very different thing.
What is it a thing?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a
Okay,
thing.
you're an old something. I'm an old hand.
Old hand.
Old hand
And
did this,
you'd
is
say
what
that
I'm thinking of.
podcasting is old hat to us. I have no idea the etymology
old
of that
hand,
phrase.
old hat.
Yeah.
Queens have hands and hats.
Well, not every queen has hands. Let's
That's
not
true.
be
And some
presumptive.
queens don't have hats.
They have the gold ones.
Crowns.
That's a crown.
Well, that's
You got one of those
a crown is a hat.
jewelry hats. Do I get a jewelry hat?
circle.
A crown is a hat. I stand by that.
Okay.
All right. But we,
Could be just a bad helmet.
What about it?
a real bad helmet.
You can't hit me right here, though.
So you're on the phone buying it. Yeah. So how are the sides? They're perfect. They're
what about
golden.
the top?
They're golden. And the top, you're
breaking
the
up.
waffle.
Listener, if you can't tell already, this podcast is going to have many side roads. many. This should be just called the Distraction Podcast.
The Tangent.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
But no, it's
The Tangent is not a bad name.
Oh, scrap it. Let's start over. But no, the reason we started this, I think, is very. It's a very fun and positive story, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, Brad and I have podcasted together for like 13 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
As the Chuck and Brad podcast. And I know for people who are like, what a terrible name. Originally, it had a name, but then people just called it the Chuck and Brad podcast. So
It was called How Young is Too Young, right?
Right. How Young is Too Young.
We never figured that out.
Yeah. No.
That's crazy.
There's
Never
just
got
not
that.
an answer.
Yeah. Well, you kept coming to the table with different variables.
Well, hold on.
What if she's from Canada? Is that a thing?
But we've been podcasting for a long time. When did you start podcasting?
I started podcasting doing with Ray and Derek, the podcast. That was my first podcast.
What year do you think you started? Just rough.
That was like 2013.
2014, 2013.
Let's say 13.
And what's interesting too is
2012.
Even before that, Ray, I have a communications minor. I have a degree in film with a communications minor, and you went for communications too, right?
I did, yeah.
So
I also did.
Are we
you did
doing
too?
Yeah.
I
We
always
have
think
to-
of you as a Spanish homework man.
No.
That's not a
German
good-
homework. I minored in German.
Oh,
that's what-
100% you minored. I didn't even know that about you, but I knew that about you. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
That's
This
the
guy
vibe that's
minored in
involved.
By the way,
German.
the fact that I think you had a degree in Spanish is really close to that.
Yeah. They're almost the same language.
Well, the idea of being a language degree person.
Well, again, the degree is
Sure.
not in the language. The degree is in communications, public relations. And I got halfway through my last semester, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
No.
I think I
doesn't
want to
seem
learn
fun.
one of the hardest languages.
No. I had
Yeah.
already learned one of the hardest languages.
Doinka. Is that good? What is that?
English
nothing.
is
That's
English
just
is
a-
one of
Oh,
the
he's
hardest
not good.
languages
Is it?
because of how many different meanings words have.
Yes.
So we started podcasting a long time ago. Ray started podcasting a long time ago, and then we became friends with Ray quite a while ago. We're all in Rhode Island,
Yes.
and we were doing a show at the Comedy Connection, which is Rhode Island's comedy club, the main comedy club.
Yeah.
And it was called the Tag Team Comedy Show. I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember
I
this?
do remember, yeah.
This is kind of where we met. And Brad and I were already doing some two-man shows at the Comedy Connection because
Right.
along with the podcast, we'll do live like two-man comedy shows that are very strange. I won't get into that right now. But the whole night was supposed to be two people on stage together at the same time. And they asked us to headline because we had so much, we were the ones that actually do that all the time.
Yeah, you guys were the only established like two-person thing.
Exactly.
You know?
And
Yeah.
so you were paired up with our buddy Brian Bowden, right?
Yeah, Brian came to me and wanted to like put this show on.
Oh, it was his
And-
idea. Okay.
Yeah, and so he asked me to co-host with him.
Makes
and
perfect
so
sense.
we did that together. Yeah.
And that's where we met that night. And, we started working together on film projects, stuff like that. I'm a filmmaker, you're a filmmaker. And then eventually we said, let's have Ray on the podcast, which we do with a lot of comedians. Brian has been on too.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of other, Derek Furtado, the guy that you started your podcast with, a great
Yeah.
guy. And after we first had you on, it was just so much fun.
Oh, it was
and
great.
we had such a good like rapport, all three of us together, that we're like, oh, let's have him on again. And you seriously have been on the podcast, like I'd say between 25 and 30 times.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Our podcast,
And
the Chuck and Brad podcast.
I think and then I started my podcast, Must
Right.
Content, right at the tail end of quarantine times,
Right.
right?
Yes, Ray Harrington
And-
Must Content.
Yeah, and I had both of you on the podcast,
Right.
and we really enjoyed that. And I think I got to a point where I was like, I really like doing the podcasts with you guys,
Yeah.
but bringing funny to that podcast is like, well, what do I get out of this? You know what I mean? Like, it's not my podcast.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. There is a little side thing here where when the quarantine started, we said, let's do video projects. And we were like, Ray, do you want to come on as like a guest third for a while? And you were like, but your name is the Chuck and Brad podcast.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah. And you were on a bunch of times, but it was a thing where we've been dancing around this for a couple of years. The idea of us becoming more serious.
There's a whole will they, won't they?
Yeah.
Right.
There was that one time we all leaned in for the kiss, but then got interrupted.
Well, we all bunked our heads. There's not enough space.
We started laughing.
And then we're like, I was just kidding. I wasn't a real kiss.
Oh, no. That wasn't
faked you guys
real.
out. I gotta go.
And then we all walked separately in separate directions, and then individually at separate times looked back to see if the other guys were looking back. But oh no, they weren't.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. People were really rooting for us, though.
But yeah, and so, it was becoming a thing where we'd be like, let's do a really funny episode of our podcast. We have some things that we've done on the Chuck and Brad podcast over the years, like pitch doctors.
Sure.
Where we come up with like a new, when Space Jam 2 came out and we saw that it was just a pop culture mashup of all different ideas.
Yeah.
We would do something like pitch doctors. We'd all bring our own pop culture mashups to the table.
Yeah.
And every time we did that, we thought, let's invite Ray and have him come on. And after a while, it was like, man, we're having Ray on all these big episodes. You had kind of talked to me when you were starting your podcast and said, like, I wouldn't want to ask you guys to end your podcast, but it would be really fun for the three of us to get serious about it.
Right.
And then I think that obviously it made sense in terms of the relationships and the fun we have.
Right.
And then when my work over the past couple of years has gotten more and more into the world of podcasting, and I started working with these bigger podcasts, I was like, man, I'd love to have our dynamic kind of packaged in a way that's a little bit easier for someone to jump in.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people see the Chuck and Brad podcast has 500 how many ever episodes.
Yeah.
And they think, why would I climb on board now?
Yeah,
Why would I
13 years
clamber
in.
on this rickety old train now?
So we said, all these things added up. We finally started talking about it seriously, and we're like,
It started as a joke, though. Like I
it?
remember when we were starting the conversation, it started as a. It was very much like this will never happen, but it would be cool. Wouldn't this
Yeah,
happen?
that's-
And we
yeah.
started goofing about it.
Yeah.
And over a couple of phone calls and chats, it started to get more serious.
Yeah.
I don't know how interesting this is to the listener of
Well,
how we got to this stage.
Well, it's fun. It's fun. It's interesting.
We're merging.
We're merging. So
You guys had a podcast, I had a podcast, and now we have a podcast.
exactly.
We took those other podcasts behind the shed. We told those other podcasts to think of the rabbits
Oh, okay. Good.
and how they're going to
love
pet those rabbits.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to love those rabbits.
Yep.
And then we shot those podcasts in the back of the
I think
head.
we're mixing stories here, right? Did he? Yeah, he did shoot him. He didn't. I was
Of
like,
Mice
he
and Men.
broke his neck.
Oh,
no, he shot him.
No, he
Broke
killed
the-
the lady
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the barn.
Lenny, yeah.
And man, what a ride for her.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
just like, look at this big dumb ox.
Yep.
I want him to fill me up. And they went in the barn and then he kills her.
So
Accidents happen.
And Fill Me Up was actually a quote from the book.
Yeah.
Of Mice and Men.
The original title, I believe.
I think, the original title was Fill Me Up. And it was
titular line.
nice because it was like a metaphor as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give me a sense of fulfillment.
Fill me up, you big dumb ox.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the story of how we're here in the podcast.
I hear they're doing a remake, by the way. I'm sorry. You're not going to believe who they cast. They cast Dennis Quaid and Randy Quaid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Tracks.
we thought it'd be good for the audience to kind of get to know us individually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we
And
thought,
that's why we're filming, and you're going to take your clothes off first.
well, so we
You're
thought
going to get to know us intimately.
Intimately.
So we thought it would be fun if Brad and I wrote an introduction for Ray, so you guys can learn about Ray. If Ray and Brad wrote an introduction about myself, and if
You and I.
Ray and I...
Chuck and I. No, Chuck and I. Not Ray and I. Chuck and I.
Right. And wrote an introduction about Brad, so you can learn about Brad.
Yeah.
And so we thought that would be a fun way for you to understand the stuff that we like to do.
Yeah,
And so-
you know, because why would we introduce ourselves? It feels
You wanna show
it
our
feels
friendship.
self-indulgent to be like, my name's Ray Harrington. I'm a comedian, you know, like stuff like that. So, so now we're all gonna swipe the shit out of our screens. Who should go first?
Well, so which one? You had an idea of who should read what. You tell me.
yeah,
what.
and I told you that at the beginning before we turned on the mic, so we wouldn't have to go over it on.
I believe we're reading to our right.
Ooh.
So
Oh, I'm reading Brad.
See, this is why Brad is vital.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you and I would just bicker for the rest of the time,
For the rest of our lives.
which wouldn't be very long.
No. So you want me to read about you?
Yeah, if you'd like.
Do you want me to start it? Do you want me to start it?
You're reading about Brad.
I know, but do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically,
Do you want me to start?
you want me? Just okay. So
I'm going to keep the camera on me here so that we can see me take all these things too personally.
Ray and
I want to be clear. We discussed this intro. I will say I did join in on adding some pieces of information. But Chuck really did kind of decide the direction we were going right up front. So like how
I've worked
much
with Chuck long enough to know that's often the case.
yeah. When he turns down a bumpy dirt road, yes, I can try and navigate, but we're still going to be on that bumpy ass
Watch
road.
out for those bumps.
Yeah.
And Chuck, he's steering into the bumps.
He's a bump steerer for sure.
So Ray and I wrote this introduction for Brad, for you guys to get to know Brad.
Good.
Who is Brad Rohr?
Good question.
Born in Dyer, Indiana, during the hurricane of 1912, Brad's infant corpse was pulled up into the air and tossed about until his brains were scrambled and his testicles were similarly discombobulated. One fateful strike of lightning shocked his cold, blackened heart, and the man we'd grow to love was brought to life.
Wow, that's okay.
It's a Pinocchio kind of thing.
Baby Brad was born with a third nipple. Wait, no, that's his penis,
There
said
we
the
go.
doctor. A phrase that would haunt Brad constantly for the next several decades and into today.
Well, and to be fair, in that period of time, doctors, they didn't know
Yeah.
as much as they do now. I mean, this is the era of like drink some lead and we'll
Yeah,
check
no,
on you.
it wouldn't hurt so much if it didn't also happen this morning.
That's what I meant by into today.
Yeah.
That's when I wrote this
Yeah.
when you texted me. Brad was undeterred by his nipple penis and was a brainy babe. As this baby grew into a child, his brain pulsated and pushed against his skull. Some would say Brad was very smart. Brad would humbly say his skull was simply too small. That's a compliment.
I'm like the Grinch in that way.
Yeah.
No, that's a very Roald Dahl kind of thing.
Yeah. As a youth, Brad was leaps and bounds ahead of his classmates in academic performance. Unfortunately, he maintained the emotional intelligence of a third grader,
There we go.
who has the emotional intelligence of a kindergartner. Brad, simply put, was a brainiac. Calculators and spreadsheets gave Brad an erection. Algebra and biology made Brad jizz. Do you know what rulers and protractors did for him? That's right. They pushed him over the edge into the dark world of autoerotic asphyxiation. All that to say, Brad is a smart guy.
Yeah.
Whilst pursuing his education, this tightly wound, incredibly rigid man decided to pursue improv comedy.
Yes.
An art form where you need to react with flexibility in the moment is the perfect outlet for someone who throws a tantrum when he sees tomatoes mistakenly put on his sandwich. One time I saw him shriek at a waitress and then squeal at the manager. I didn't stick around to see him squawk at the governor. That's the next one up, right?
Waitress, manager, governor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad was formerly trained in improv in Chicago and has performed improv for 1,000 years.
Yes.
Brad eventually moved to Massachusetts for a job in higher education. Brad is basically the lead character at the beginning of any 1999 movie. Fight Club, American Beauty, The Matrix. Take your pick. This guy is a 9-to-5 stiff on the verge of a mental breakdown.
I would add falling down to this.
Yes. Brad is a member of the Providence Improv Guild, also known as PIG. But this little piggy doesn't just stick to improv. This piglet clicks his hoof on stage, doing two-man comedy shows with his friend and mentor, Chuck Staten.
Mentor.
He loves sticking his snout into a good book.
Really, really driving this metaphor home.
And despite his disturbing loner persona, he's oinked his way into our hearts.
There we go. Looking up.
Some final Brad facts. He hates condiments, yogurts, and puddings.
Yes.
He calls them the jiggles.
I do.
He thinks Miracle Whip is too spicy.
Agreed.
He pretends to like church, and when pressed says, "No, I really do like church." Go ahead, respond.
I've said that.
Some would say he's a picky eater, but in his defense, some foods are scary.
Yes.
Brad has a cat named Rosie.
I do.
He scared her wicked bad with a vacuum. He says it wasn't abuse because it's his cat, and he can scare her however he pleases.
It was unintentional.
One time, Brad lost a spelling bee and subsequently flooded a school.
Yes, that's 100% factual.
I know.
So Chuck said that when we were writing this, and I was like, what? And he had to explain. He didn't tell me the story.
Yeah.
What, you have a little bit left?
I'll close it, yeah.
Okay, close it up, and then I
Yeah.
want to know about this.
Okay.
In closing, we would like to say that, despite this description, Brad is not a retired widow. He's our friend. And because of him, we get to skip the lines at Disney World. Amen.
Can't I be a retired widow and your friend?
Yeah.
Just a brief version of this spelling bee story.
Well, and quickly, like, this is fantastic because these intros,
Yep.
Yeah.
like the reason we did the intro is for listeners who maybe they're coming from Must Content or new listeners
Sure.
who don't know
Right.
you yet.
Yeah.
Same with you guys. Maybe listeners from Chuck and Brad don't know me, or completely new people, right?
Right.
Because we've been putting a lot of stuff out in the swinger community, I believe.
Yeah.
Is what
Oh,
we've been
so many
mostly.
pineapples. Yeah.
so upside down pineapples. We have that swinger TikTok community really just
Yeah.
slobbering over what this podcast. They're drooling
They're
for it.
so
they
excited
want
for
it.
more
They want to
Funbearable.
put it on. I've heard they want to put it on when they do their little parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how
the
they
thing.
phrase it. They do their little parties.
Well, we're gonna come out with a line of key bowls that are Funbearable.
yeah, Funbearable, and I think Funbearable is a great term to describe a key party.
Right? Depends on whose
Yeah.
keys you end up with.
It's true. There's also that one guy that said he was going to bring somebody, but didn't bring anybody, whose name is Brad Rohr.
She's coming. She's coming.
She's
on her
got,
way.
well,
Oh,
apparently
You guys-
she's not coming.
You guys don't know her. She's from Canada.
What's her name? Justine Trudeau.
I was gonna say her name was Canada.
That's what I was going to say.
What's her name? Province.
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. Toronto. Yeah, but okay. So
Spelling
I wanna know about
Chuck
this,
told
yeah.
me this, and my first question
Yes.
was, what grade? Right.
6th grade.
Sixth?
That was my guess, I think. Or
Sixth
sixth or
is,
fifth.
you know what? Because I feel like if it's too many grades below,
Right.
you're not old enough to be that calculated, right? You're not old enough to be like, I lost the spelling bee, and now they're gonna pay, right?
I wouldn't say it was 100% intentional. 6th grade.
You did a big dookie.
I'm in the first year of middle school, and I win the school spelling bee, and then go to like whatever the next level was, like waitress to manager, and won that spell or finished in the top 3, and I advanced
Yeah.
to
Governor?
the governor right before Washington D.C. So if I win this one, I'm on my way to D.C. for the national spelling
The
bee,
Nationals.
where I would have gotten destroyed. But so there's 12 6th graders, 12 7th graders, 12 8th graders.
Really quickly, can
Yes.
you imagine Brad at the National Spelling Bee? Because I've seen some of the
I would be
televised
the
version.
I would have been the coolest guy.
I was
there.
just gonna say you would be
Yeah,
the cool
yeah,
guy,
right.
You would be like
agree with
the
that.
unhinged cool guy.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Damn, this guy's got a leather jacket."
Yeah, this guy spelled a word. 6th grade. So I spelled the first word correctly. The next time up, or maybe the third time up, I get the word "it's,"
I think that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit to put it's in the spelling
and
bee.
so I'm like, can I please have that in a sentence? Because there's no way I heard this correctly.
Yeah.
And they say the dog got its coat groomed at the vets, and I said vets, VE, and they said no. It's the dog got its coat groomed at the veterinarian's office, and I said, okay, it's IT''S, and they're like, that's wrong. And I was
This is bullshit.
I
I
was,
think so, too.
I
I
was
think
the
it's bullshit,
first
too.
one out.
Yeah.
And after like this hype of like I'm the first person from my school to go to like the
they had that
governor
parade.
level. Yeah, and so I went and I was I cried very easily then. I still cry easily. I don't want to pretend like I've grown out of it. I express my feelings like a real man would.
Yeah.
So I went into the bathroom and there was a urinal that was flushing. This is in the Munster High School,
Eddie Munster High School?
I wish.
He's always there.
Oddly enough, it was
They built their school after me.
his name
Principal Munster.
the Grandpa Munster.
Now, I just want to say, horseshit.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute horseshit.
Yeah.
You can't include grammatical punctuation.
Yeah.
You can't add punctuation to the question of that. That's horseshit, right?
I was very upset. And,
Isn't that
and
bullshit?
agreed.
I think it's bullshit. I was like, it's like a punctuation bee. It's almost a different thing.
that's like saying you didn't start the sentence with an indentation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm mad now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to go to Munster.
Well, let me hear you.
Flood the
Let me
school.
tell you how
I want to flood that school.
Yeah.
So I'm in there.
would.
I'm crying. I'm wiping my face with
Oh, is that
the
how it
brown
flooded?
paper
You
towels.
cried. So
And a
This is a Roald Dahl story.
a urinal is constantly, continuously flushing. And I stop crying and I take the paper towel soaked in tears and snot and I crumble it up and throw it at the toilet and walk out. And like my dad's like, let's go get pancakes so you feel better, whatever. And my spelling bee coach, Mrs. Miller, and my mom were standing.
Who blew it? Who absolutely blew it? Your
She
spelling
should-
bee coach sucked.
She should have gone over.
Brad, don't use that apostrophe.
Throw in the towel. You're killing him.
Apostrophes are possessive, not plurals. God damn it, Brad. Brad.
So, we leave. My mom comes home later, or separately, and she said, the weirdest thing happened. I was out there talking with Mrs. Miller, and water started coming out of the men's room. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I don't know. We had to find a janitor, and it's a Saturday morning, so there's no janitor around. They had to call someone in. The water just kept coming out. And I'm like, Mom, that's my fault. Like, I threw the paper, and I explained the whole thing to her. She's like, well, just don't tell anyone. And so I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations has passed.
you're fine.
I
on
think
this
you're good.
Complete and
Yeah,
total
you're
accident
good.
from 1990.
Well, and also when you were walking out, to be fair, there was that really fat judge that was walking in.
Yep.
Who was going like, I got to take a big shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
so I think maybe that
Yeah,
judge had
combo.
something to do.
Maybe a combo at
the
least.
toilet, it's going to be clogged. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll kill you.
Just mention anytime you hear it triggers
Now,
you
Brad,
now.
I feel really bad saying this, but that's a different version of it.
I know. I got him. I got
He
him.
still
confused.
doesn't get it.
I totally get it. It's
Totally get it.
when Chuck's like,
you get it. You
Yeah.
just don't get it.
When Chuck's like, he shriek at a waitress
And then-
and then
yeah,
squealed at the
You
manager.
squealed at the manager. You were going to squawk at the governor. I think you were going to caw at somebody.
if I see it's used incorrectly,
Yeah.
I will shriek and squeal and squawk and caw.
And blow your house down.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. So
Well, I'm really glad that I got to know a little bit more
that
about you.
terrible
Yeah.
That's
story.
great.
Yeah, right?
This is perfect.
Isn't that
This is
interesting?
perfect.
Isn't that-
yeah.
it's a great
I'd go on a
story.
second date. I'm in.
yeah.
It's time to bring that summer heat into the bedroom. That's right. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Confidence can take you far in life, especially in the bedroom. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets, all at a fraction of the cost. Take them anytime and be ready whenever an opportunity arises.
I love Blue Chew. I've had a lot of good experiences on Blue Chew. My game, is that what you call it? My game? The sexual? Is that what it's called?
I think other people, I would call that a game.
Yeah, you
They
For me,
have game.
What would you call my sexual performance?
like a lecture?
Yeah. Okay. When somebody is, they have the typing sound on their phone and it's cranked way up and they're in like a doctor's waiting room.
Yeah.
That.
Have you ever seen like a kid who's really sad and he's like desolatorily throwing rocks?
Yeah.
That's you.
Okay. Well, anyway, my game was quite strong. Didn't think it could get any stronger. It was a 10 on the strength scale. Blue Chew brought it up to a 14.
So that's more than 10.
Yes.
I don't think we should be maybe having the phrase like 14 in this. Does that make sense?
Hey,
I know what you're thinking.
I-
How can I get my sexual performance up to a 14?
There we go. Yeah. Go back to the copy. The copy is safe.
Well,
Chuck.
I
The
think-
process is simple, you guys. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers. Once approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part? It's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, unless the person you're trying to make love to is a pharmacist.
That's true.
Oh, I mean, if they're at work,
You just wait. You have to wait in
respect
line.
some boundaries.
That's why it takes so long sometimes to pick up a prescription.
Yeah, it's because I'm in line.
Yes.
Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and shipped in a discreet package.
If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. Chew it and do it. The it
Yeah.
is sex.
By the way, if you want to know about discreet packages, no one's package is more discreet than Brad's. It's like it's not even there.
We have a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Funbearable at checkout. And I just want to say, guys, it's just so wonderful that we have a promo code.
I think that's
Doesn't
fun.
it feel real now?
That's
It does.
fun.
It feels real. Use that code Funbearable at checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping. That's
Right.
it.
Yep.
That's BlueChew.com code Funbearable to receive your first month for free. And you get a free month of Blue Chew.
Yeah.
All you're doing is paying $5, which is essentially saluting the United States Postal Service. Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you.
Come rain or shine, which was also an alternate slogan for Blue Chew.
Right.
Yeah.
Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. Thank you, Blue Chew, for sponsoring this episode of Funbearable.
And I would like to say to the listeners, you know what? If you love the podcast, you're getting this stuff for free. Multicam shoots, big guests coming up. There is a way to support us directly, and it's by supporting our advertisers. So if you haven't tried Blue Chew, give it a shot. It's only $5 for a whole month free. So go ahead, BlueChew.com with Funbearable.
Chew it and do it.
Yeah, chew it and do
Chew
it.
it and do it.
Chew it and do it.
Nike is going to sue half of them.
Yeah.
I hope that there's no errors in grammar or anything.
There were a couple.
Did you fix them?
Yes.
Well,
Oh, great. There you go.
He fixed them.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's R-A-apostrophe-Y.
yeah. So
All
Brad
the
and I,
tenses are off.
he has no
Oh,
idea.
there are
This guy's-
definitely tenses off.
Brad and I wrote this together.
Yes.
50-50 job introducing Ray Harrington to the new listeners of Funbearable.
Sorry about my loud cup.
Oh, it's very loud. I like that. It's almost like is it a dominance thing? Like you brought it to be like
Shake your
No, it's in case you get too much. I can kind of calm you down. I can scare you off a little bit.
yeah.
It's a can full of pennies.
Shoo!
I hide under the couch.
Damps.
The first thing you notice about Ray is that he is a large man. The second thing is that he's caked in tattoo-covering makeup. Is this further proof that he was part of a large number of hate groups?
Oh, no.
No.
I don't like this direction.
We're saying no.
No, we don't think he's capable of that. The swastika-shaped makeup glob on his right bicep is just a coincidence. Stop asking about it.
It's a Calvin. It's a Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes.
Ray is a giant among men, and we're not just talking about his alarming stature. We're also talking about his bowel issues. They dwarf yours, no matter how messy or disgusting you think they may be. This guy has got you beat. Ray Harrington is from Maine, the land of lobsters and pet cemeteries. Ray is a perfect candidate to represent both because he's crabby and he would be better off dead.
Oh, man.
Note,
That's a good joke, though, right?
sure.
I also like lobsters are crabby.
In all caps, I have note, lobsters are not crabs. Ray is an enigma. He seems so big and imposing, but deep down, he's a lovable, soft-hearted pussy.
That's also great.
Ray is a mean-spirited, dominating bully. He knows
the exact opposite.
Sure is. He knows big words and he uses them to make you feel small when all you want to do is enjoy Jurassic World.
Who wrote this? Who would have a problem with multisyllabic words or polysyllabic if you really want to get down to it?
Ray always had a funny mind. The doctors say it's riddled with tumors. We say it's riddled with humor.
Oh, that is like Hallmark quality. You know what I mean? That's like one of those old lady cards that you get.
Maxine, yeah.
Maxine.
Sure, his comedic brain may not explain why he blacks out or his unhinged outbursts, but we think that stuff just comes from the tumors. Ray has been doing stand-up comedy for what seems like an eternity. He started out as a young buck, and now he stands on the precipice of being taken out back behind the old barn and put out of his misery.
Yeah.
With his bone spurs, hip issues, and rabies, he can barely take another minute of this world. His life is pure hell.
I'd say for about an hour every week, maybe.
Ray has a wife and son. They stay with him out of choice.
I'm gonna ask you out of choice. I'm gonna ask you, Liz. I'll allow it, but watch yourself, counselor. Okay.
And not because they're frightened to leave. One time we were at a cookout at their house, and his wife spelled out SOS with hot dogs on the grill.
That's not true. I've never invited you over.
And his son showed us a Lego set he made of a little boy being rescued from his daddy by his daddy's friends. They're so creative, just like Ray. Ray directed a documentary that was on Hulu. It's about being a man. This creative genius pored for weeks over the title. It needed to be mind-blowing to convey his brilliance. He finally came up with Be a Man. Ray is a hilarious stand-up comedian. He was even on Conan O'Brien's show, Conan. I think Ray may have helped with the title. Ray also made a great TV pilot that he called Undependent, and Ray named this very podcast Funbearable. This begs the question, does Ray know any real words?
I am aware that Undependent and Funbearable both have the "un" in it. You know, yeah.
Ray's last podcast was called Ray Harrington Must Content. Does this guy even know how sentences work? Ray is widely looked at as the king of the RI comedy scene. In fact, that's how he demands to be introduced at shows in Rhode Island. Did you see the movie King Ralph with John Goodman? It's kind of like that because that actor and Ray have one big bulging thing in common. They are both good men.
So stupid.
We're like, let's end on the worst joke possible. And we did.
Let's do a pun, but it's wrong.
Yes.
Goodman.
It's so
dumb.
Oh.
A lot of real information in there.
There was some good information in there. I do think it's funny that I take umbrage with some of the stuff that makes me sound terrible, and then also stuff that makes me sound good. Yeah. I'm also like, I wouldn't say that. You know what I mean?
Do you have any stories about how you cried at spelling bees? Or
no, I
Academic
don't think
Super Bowl?
we didn't have like an official spelling bee.
Okay.
I think there was just one day where they did spelling bee stuff. I did get a rash of shit from some of the dumber peers in my school that made fun of the fact that me talk good. Right?
Yeah, me too.
I got suspended from school once because I was in science class in high school, and I was talking to a friend, and we were goofing.
Oh, yeah,
and the
as you
teacher
do.
said, "Hey, what are you doing?" Blah blah blah. Because it was physics,
Right.
And then I said, "Oh, we were just discussing the humorousness of this particular physics thing, right?"
Right.
And this real dirt dumb kid,
Right.
I won't say his name; that would be mean.
Yeah, Dirt Dumb Dan.
We'll just call him Dirt Dumb Guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, humorousness? It's not even a word, right? And I could hear him doing that with his Dirt Dumb buddies.
Right. Yeah.
And it just was boiling inside me.
Oh, yeah.
And I got up, and he thought I was going to attack.
Right.
And I went and got the dictionary. and I opened it and I went to humor and I got to humorousness and showed it to him. And the teacher the entire time was like, hey, Mr. Just sit down right now, sit down right now. And I was just like, no, humorousness, it's a word. You fucking idiot, and shut the book. And then he sent me to the principal, and I got expelled, or not expelled, suspended. Sorry.
I don't think you should have gotten suspended for that.
No, me neither.
There were a lot of times I got suspended when I shouldn't have been.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
not
was
me.
Too much.
Unsurprisingly,
I asked the teacher to the prom.
I wrote a.
Did you for real?
Yeah. Oh, she called my parents. And
To ask if it was okay.
She caught me giving her one of the to her butt when she turned around and she saw me doing it. I felt really guilty about
That's too far.
I was
you know
17.
What? And you know what? You're not 17 is old enough not to know. And this is a girl a woman you asked to the prom.
Yeah.
And she said no.
Why do you think I asked
And then
her?
you went, well, blah, 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 I'm gonna eat your butt.
It was a different day.
I'm going to eat your butt.
That's not butt.
You said to her butt, though. You said to her butt.
You can't. What am I going to stand under her? Anyway,
I'm sorry, just real quick. I wrote like a love poem for a substitute teacher we had, and she took it and she thought it was sweet, but that's because I'm like just radiate a non-sexual nature.
not only that,
Right,
you radiate like Jason Voorhees before he died.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, I know.
With the tooth.
Also,
and the eye.
also a little bit of Jason Voorhees after.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He's getting there.
90-10.
Yeah.
Stoic.
Yeah.
And hates when teens are fucking.
I do.
Oh, he
Love
hates
it.
when teens
You
are
and
fucking.
Jason, very quiet.
Look,
Yeah.
when we went to that hockey game last year and I was like, please buy me this mask. You're like, something about it feels off, but something about it feels right. Should have gotten the mask.
All right, I got the intro.
Oh, for Chucky.
For,
I wonder,
for
do you
Chuck
think I
here.
could bang Miss Pascal now?
Now? I don't know. I
How
mean,
old is she?
eating ass has become more.
Well, that's
cool.
not what I was trying to do.
That's what you were trying
I was
to
just
do.
having fun.
It's from your own words. Is what you did.
I was looking at it.
I guess my story wasn't as cool as.
That's a
flooding
good
the
story.
school.
No, it's a good. It's a story about you because
That is fair.
You would
That is
think
fair.
that Ray, probably bigger than all the other kids, he could probably pound this guy into oblivion. What does he do? He uses his words.
Teaches him.
I get suspended.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Punished for it.
I dropped out of high school.
I know.
There's a story for you. I dropped out of high
I
school.
know.
I was like, no, thank you, I'm done. And because it was creatively stifling for sure.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just like, oh, do you have whimsy? Well, we'll stamp that out of you as quickly as possible. And it's very funny that I was like, there was one class that I liked, and I was getting an A in that class, failing everything else because I wasn't going to school.
Right.
And I would like show up super late and just go to the one class I liked and stuff like that. And then eventually I just stopped going.
Yeah.
But then I went to college, you know what I mean? And was on the dean's list when I showed up because it was like, oh, I like this and now I
Right.
want to do this.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Yeah, exactly. Don't listen, if you're in high school, just
Drop out.
honestly just stick it out.
Oh, I thought you said okay.
No, stick it out.
Just, hit on your teachers.
Yeah, just eat it.
Eat butt.
Eat it.
Eat butt.
Eat it and drop out.
Eat its.
And then flood the school. That's what we're.
Yeah, there we go.
Now, listener, you may be wondering, who the hell is this Chuck Staten fella? Well, here's the intro that
doubt
Brad
it.
and I wrote for you. What can we say about Chuck Staten that he hasn't already said about himself? Chuck is the only one of us that grew up in Rhode Island, and we can't help but think that says something about Rhode Island, not the other way around. He's been the lead singer and guitarist for the pop-punk band Senior Discount for years. Well past the era of this music's popularity, the band played on the final Warped Tour. Music publications cite their appearance as the final shovelful of dirt on the coffin of the once popular festival. Ever the foodie, Chuck also writes for area publications like Motif Magazine, Rhode Island Monthly, about the Rhode Island food scene. And thank God it's in print. You don't have to hear him when he eats if you're just reading. There isn't a restaurant in the state that hasn't had to deal with the graphic, almost sexual cacophony of Chuck sampling a new dish.
There's no almost about it.
When he's not belting out early aughts era tunes or loosening his belt at a restaurant table or tightening his belt around the neck of a lover, Chuck is busy at work as a producer, director, and editor for the hit podcasts Tell 'em Steve Dave, Tuesdays with Stories, and Mike Birbiglia. Overseeing much of their Patreon content and beyond, he's also managed to inject himself into on-air appearances as well. You can hear him force his way onto many wonderful programs. He also does some video work for Kevin Smith, a filmmaker Chuck has always admired. He's always said he modeled his entire persona off of Kevin Smith's beloved character, Loud Bob.
That's good.
Chuck could be heard weekly on his previous podcast with his friend and legal guardian, Brad Rohr. Brad has nothing but nice things to say about Chuck, and he's said them all as a character witness in court for any one of the many, many trials Chuck has faced. This guy has never met a mirror he didn't want to kiss. He was once banned from the entire Target chain of stores when he walked by an entire display area of clearance vanity mirrors. In his defense, because he did defend himself in court, and this was his defense, quote, "How can they get mad at me when they put such a sexy man in those mirrors?" He screamed. Chuck has never met a problem he didn't try to solve with his penis, whether it's helping an old woman cross the street or towing a boat behind a pickup truck. Chuck's first impulse is always his own terrible phallus. Many would call him eternally optimistic, a real glass half fuller. But then they'd slowly start to realize that most of the positivity is about himself. When does positivity bleed into ego? Where does the self end and the external world begin when one believes the world to exist solely for their entertainment? Is a question Chuck's mother asked at his last birthday party as Chuck rode a pony through her backyard.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'll say when Ray sent it to me, it says Chuck has never met a mirror he didn't want to kiss.
Yeah.
I thought it said Chuck has never met a minor he didn't want to kiss. And I'm like, that's pretty dark, Ray, but
Let's go with
if
it, I
the
guess.
shoe
No way.
fits.
No way. I can name 2. Webster.
He's not a minor. He's just little.
Oh, no.
And Wee Man.
Again, not a minor. What about Mini-Me? Now that guy I'd like to kiss. Ooh, Verne Troyer, hello.
Ew.
What? Ew. What's Verne Troyer up to these
He's
days?
dead.
Huh?
He's gone.
Oh.
He's dead. He's
I got
so
all
dead.
excited. I started to lean forward like
Yeah.
this. I wanted to hear some fun Verne Troyer hypotheticals, but he
was
died? When did he die?
He was
I
on a
feel like I
reality show called The Surreal Life, and he had
Yeah.
a drinking problem. And he took this little scooter, and he would scoot around, and then he would just like piss on it.
I remember this vaguely.
Yeah,
This was that era where it was like, let's go into these people's homes and just be kind of sad, right? This was like around the Osbournes.
Yes.
Yes.
This was around the Osbournes
Yes.
era where you're like,
Yeah.
ooh, it's pretty crazy, Ozzy Osbourne's family. And then it just turns out like it's Ozzy Osbourne sort of walking around in like what I'm assuming is like a painkiller haze.
Yeah. Oh,
Just going, oh, you left us so much, Harold. Right? And people
Yeah.
were like, I love this.
Yes. You know how they say that you can drown in 5 inches of water?
Yes.
Oh, he died in 2018.
Oh boy.
We had some help. We had some help from our lovely intern. Jordan, our intern, he died in 2018.
So
well,
Ray-
I'm
so
glad he
for-
never saw the horrors of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that little body would have made it.
No.
You know how they say you can drown in 5 inches of water? You know how they say that?
Yeah, and then he would always say you can drown in 5 inches of Verne Troyer.
Well, I was gonna say Verne Troyer
Yeah.
died in 2 inches of water.
Oh no.
To be fair, I didn't know he was in the bathroom when I threw the paper towel.
That's good.
And then he's just saying it's all over for me. It's the
And
end.
I'm like,
He sees the urinal start to flow over. No.
Well, the plan was the reason they had it's with a comma, sorry, an apostrophe, is they had Verne Troyer there for the winner.
Yeah.
And he was going to come out with the trophy. It was on wheels.
Yeah.
And he was dressed as an apostrophe.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
and that's-
remember because there is backstage footage, and he's like, "How am I going to move this?" And he has the scooter, and they're like,
Yeah.
just like push it,
Yeah.
just kind of like,
And somebody put wheels on
Scoot it.
the little trophy.
yeah. So that was,
And then they decided
Yep.
to instead just have him sit on top of the trophy.
Right.
This is terrible. I
I-
feel awful. I feel so bad about what we're doing right now. Oh.
his little widow.
I feel like we are pissing on his little grave. But you know what? He would do that. I think he would like that because he liked to roll up in his mobility scooter and just take a very drunken piss right off the side of the mobility scooter. And I
I mean,
think
who
I'd
among
like
us
to
doesn't
think,
like that?
I mean,
yeah, I'd like to think if VT was alive today, he would be like a G.G. Allen and he'd want you to piss on his little grave.
I hate it. I want to get off of this.
Who do you think his two pallbearers were?
It was just Mike Myers kind of hunching.
It was Mike Myers and Mike Myers. He was Dr. No, or no, sorry, Dr. Evil. He was Dr. Evil and Fat Bastard.
This year at Verne Troyer's funeral, Mike Myers. And he's like, yeah, baby. And he's like, and Mike Myers. And he's like,
And Mike Myers. Oh, the little one's dead.
that was great.
This is ridiculous.
Is that an impression that you've hid from us?
Probably.
I would think.
Yeah, gee, why would the 6'7" morbidly obese man not want to be vocal about his ability to do an impression of Fat Bastard?
I mean, it's not super timely for one,
Thank you.
but that's the only reason I can think.
That's it. That's it. It's too passe, right?
Do Garth. Wait, what if I thought that was Mike Myers too?
Yeah. He's great, man.
He is
good.
Mike Myers, and oddly enough, I immediately thought of Garth Brooks when you said that. And Garth Brooks did a Mike Myers and was Chris Gaines.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Garth Brooks is, and he's like,
I think they should do a movie together.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of the idea of Mike Myers as Garth, as the master of disguise, and it's just it's this weird little nesting doll of Mike Myers appearances.
Truly terrible.
Yeah.
So Garth Brooks is a country singer.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Chris Gaines, what was he?
He was a rock, like
Cool
vanilla
guy.
rock guy.
Butt rock.
Was he that cool, or is he not that cool? Is it kind of similar?
I mean, it would be like if I tried to be a cool rock guy.
Yeah.
I buy it.
You know
and
what?
he toured as Chris Gaines? Can we go watch videos of him as a different character?
Dude, he was on SNL. Garth Brooks hosted SNL, and Chris Gaines was the musical guest. And he kept up this bullshit where everybody knew it's Garth Brooks.
Right.
But he kept up that Chris Gaines was this entire other persona.
This is genius.
With a different history that was like some weird thing about
is
like
amazing.
saving lives or something.
This is amazing.
It was bananas. And he dressed very similar to like a mind freak, right? Like
Yes.
he had the emo haircut.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was insane. He looked like if Nathan Fielder was doing a bit dressing as a magician.
Okay.
That's what Chris Gaines looked like. And he wanted to stick to this. And it was like this weird thing where Garth Brooks had so many like best-selling albums in the 90s and was just the top guy. And he was like, I want to do more. I want a challenge. And he's like, and he wanted to do rock, but didn't want to beat Garth Brooks. It's bananas. It is truly peak 90s insanity.
I'll say that the town in Florida was called Brooksville, and then he had so much money, he's like, I want to relaunch my career.
Gainesville?
Gainesville.
It's amazing.
Cute. That's
it's
a good
amazing. But yeah, I think there should be a show where they're all together.
I think
And then there's a crash and everybody doesn't make it.
I think if you sell
R.I.P. Chris
when
Gaines.
your album goes platinum, how many is that, you think? Do you have an idea?
Is it a
million?
million?
Okay. I think if you're an artist and you sell 1 million records, you have to do that. You should have,
You have to restart.
You should be like, you got to
made
be
it to the
someone
top.
else.
You got to do it again.
And it has to be different. Like
I feel
pretty
like
different.
there was a story about the Beatles, that they were like, I wish we could just like start out again as like a new band, but
Yeah.
I think it was George Harrison proposed it, and they're like, once they hear your guitar, they're going to know you're George Harrison, and he was like super defeated.
Oh no!
You know what's interesting?
Well, that's where Sgt. Pepper came from.
Yeah.
Is they just like, let's pretend we're not the Beatles. and
I was
we're
going
just doing this.
to. Ray probably doesn't know this. Green Day did do that for real, and they have still not said that they're the other band.
Right.
It's called The Network, and it's Green Day and Devo together as a band that wears all masks,
Yeah.
and it's just Green Day with them, with two guys from Devo.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I heard that Kenny Rogers is actually under the mask of Slipknot.
Yeah.
It's Kenny Rogers. He's like, look, I did country, I did chicken,
Yeah.
What's
Now
next?
I want to do
new metal.
New
Now I
metal.
want to do new metal.
Yeah.
The one with the umlaut.
Yep.
Yeah, we know which one you mean.
Yeah, and because originally he had a country song that started, and I don't know if this is Slipknot or not, but he started the song with "I push my fingers into my eyes." Right? Is that a Slipknot song?
Could be. I'm sorry, Red. I can't support you more. Sorry, I
What's
can't
that?
support you more.
Oh, our intern Jordan just came back and he said that the last 5 minutes didn't happen. Okay, great.
Wow, what a good intern.
That's funny.
But yeah, well, now that we've introduced each other, I think this is good. We all know each other now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It was like a.
Actually, all three of us are Mike Myers.
Oh no,
That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great. Do you think Mike Myers ever looks in the mirror and he's just like, I don't know who I am anymore, and who I think I might be, I don't like. Do you think he ever does that?
Just lost in the characters.
What happened to Mike Myers?
Well, I
think
wonder
is
about
the
people.
question.
I wonder about people who are
Do a
good
show
at
recently?
voices.
Yeah.
You ever think that they could just choose their voice?
No, I think you just have a voice, right? Maria Bamford. She has a couple of little voices as she does.
Yeah.
She's got her very tiny, squeaky voice.
Right.
And then she's got her kind of like generic woman voice that
Yeah,
she does.
for her mom and
that's
stuff like
very
that.
clear.
Yeah.
And you would think, like, if you could choose, you would just do the very clear voice. I don't think you can choose your voice.
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk about this, but I'm famously bad at impressions.
Okay. Famously.
Infamously.
This was
I
in the
guess.
New York Times.
Yes. I mean, I wrote an op-ed about how bad I am.
Gotcha.
shit! This guy sucks.
Yes. That was the name.
Yeah, that was the headline.
But we were playing a game. I think it's Heads Up, where you it's there and you have to give clues to someone else.
Yeah,
Is that
you hold
cool?
your phone up and it'll say like somebody, like a celebrity, and you have to do an
then,
impression
yeah,
of them.
and then the other
Dipshit
person-
or something like that. Yeah.
and we got Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm like, all right, I have to do a Mike Tyson impression for Chuck, who famously, not necessarily a sports guy.
I know.
So you
But
bit
I'm-
Chuck's ear and sexually assaulted him?
Here's the thing. I'm like,
I
what?
was like, oh, you're Brad.
Yes.
Are you me?
Are we still playing the game?
Are you Chuck? You can't.
I'm a celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I am a celebrity. You must be Chuck Staten.
I'm like, all right. So the famous things at the time of Mike, like biting your ear, and then I think when he fought Evander Holyfield, he said, "I'm going to eat your children," something like that.
Yes.
And
But
so-
in a good way.
yes.
In a good way.
If you don't do the impression, I'm going to take your life.
All right, so I tried to do my Mike Tyson impression. Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
pretty recognizable voice, pretty famous voice, pretty, some would say simple.
Pretty voice. I think he just has a pretty voice.
Loves raising like pigeons. Anyway,
Yeah, that's part of
so I'm like, I'll bite your ear. I'll eat your children. And somehow it came out as more Woody Allen.
I thought it was Woody Allen. I was like,
I'll
that.
say that is pretty close. I mean,
Yeah.
I think what you just did was a bad Woody Allen, but a worse Mike Tyson.
Right.
Does that make
and
sense?
so I did it. And since then, I have refused to do impressions because I was so bad at that one. And I felt so mortified. I just waffled on out of impressions.
You gotta do
forever.
the waffle on him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Can you do me?
that's why it's called
That's
the
where it came
waffle.
from. Yeah.
The waffles.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes, I'd love to.
I think maybe the issue might have been your phrasing choices,
Yes.
right? Maybe if you had chosen a different phrase to use, it could have sounded better. So maybe if we come up with a better phrase for you to try out right now as Mike Tyson,
I don't know
that
that
might
we
work. Why?
Do you have a phrase in mind?
Yeah, he
Because
said I'm
again,
going to eat your testicles.
No. Let's
Mike
try.
Tyson said that, or I said that?
What if it's something?
I
what
said
if
that
it's-
when I was so mad that Chuck called me out about my bad impressions.
What if it's something that you
I
might
stormed
say?
out. Oh, something that I might say?
Yeah, so you feel more comfortable. You
Right.
feel more at home in the words.
I don't know. I haven't heard Mike Tyson speak in such a long time. I would be...
He
I think you need to try.
he did say something like, I'm going to stomp your testicles and
Yeah.
eat your children.
He got in a fight on a plane in 2022
Oh,
at some
yeah.
point.
Although we
Yeah.
were rooting for Mike Tyson, I believe.
Yes, we
Oh,
were.
yeah, for
the guy
sure.
was
Yeah,
for
drunk
sure.
and heckling him.
I can't
Right.
think of a Mike Tyson versus blank where I wasn't rooting for him.
Evander Holyfield's children. Go, Mike. Go, Mike. Bite that child's ear.
That was hypothetical.
That was hypothetical.
There you
That was hypothetical.
That was hypothetical.
No, you know what? Say that without the lisp.
That was hypothetical.
That was
Woody
hypothetical. So I
No,
just
Woody Allen is more like a. Oh, that was
that's
hypothetical.
Alan Alda is what
Oh
it is.
no! Alan Alda is this one. That was hypothetical.
See, I can't
So
do
I saw
voices.
Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
and I said to Mike, I said, "You're gonna bite his ear off," and he asked me about MASH, and I said, "I got to be honest with you, Mike. The entire filming of MASH, we were off our heads.
Oh, yeah.
we were so high because this was an era where LSD was really hitting the market.
Absolutely.
And so I remember being on the set and wondering to myself, am I really in Korea? And so
That's a good impression, and I think people don't know who that is anymore.
it's so unfortunate because I
know.
like
It's
doing
good.
the Alan
You're
Alda.
great. You're great at it. It's killer.
Thank you.
It's great. It was a
I
mad
needed
thank
this. Thank you.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. It's decent.
Yeah. Any
Maybe
impressions
you could be Woody Allen and I can be Alan Alda.
I don't
Woody
think
Allen,
I can do
Alan Alda.
Woody Allen anymore.
Woody Alda.
I think
Two Allens.
I think
Did
Woody
we
Allen's
poison
not a
the
great
well?
guy. Yeah, I think,
Poison the well.
Yeah.
He's too scared to do it.
yes, I am.
And I remember seeing Woody, and I said to Woody, I said that she's technically your daughter. This is a bad idea.
No, this is a bad idea.
Listen. I know. I host Nova. I'm a smart guy.
Yes,
okay.
yeah, okay.
It was funny.
And then I said to Louis, I said, because I was on that show
Right,
with
right,
him.
yes.
And I was like, look, this is great. I love the show. It's basically a stage play.
Yes.
And then he jerked off in front of me. So that's what happened.
Yep.
So Woody Allen, I always think about this. Daughter, Soon Yi, and he adopted her, and this is
And he named her Soon Yi because he knew that soon
Yi.
Yi would be his wife.
So okay, let's not go down this path.
Let's
But
not.
we do have.
That's what I said to him.
we do have one thing we want to do in the first episode of Funbearable.
I like how you're like, no. Because I don't want to do the waffle on it. Do the waffle.
Do the waffle. No, I wanted to talk about the fact that we labored over the name, and that's a real thing. This is
We
true.
did.
This is 100%
I like
true.
to overthink things like this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's an important thing. If you don't overthink a fun thing until it's not fun anymore, are you doing it right?
Yeah. But we had a text message thread. We were going through a lot of name ideas for this podcast.
Gary.
And we were going to go through some of the ones
Dave.
that we didn't
Hobart.
use. You have the list of the ones we didn't say, right?
I do have a quite a lengthy list.
Do you have a list of other ones?
I have a list of names I never sent you.
Oh, there we go. That's what I want to hear.
So
I have a
it's
list that I never
quick.
sent you too.
Oh, it's quick. Ready?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Go. You do that.
Because this podcast is called Funbearable,
Yes. Right.
which is fun. I like it.
Right.
It has fun in the title and it also has unbearable. And I think that kind of sums us up. We can have so much fun that we become unbearable.
Right.
True.
Which, like, just listen to the last 6 minutes of the podcast. You'll know. You know what I mean? Like, I could easily sit here for another 3 hours doing Alan Alda.
Yes, right. Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
I said to OJ, don't go over there. You're just going to get mad.
You know, Alan Alda.
He was involved in every
Yeah, I
single
was gonna say, he keeps cautioning these celebrities against making bad choices.
So these are the names I didn't send you.
Okay. Tell
Brad
me.
has the names that we did send
Yes.
to each other.
Okay.
Here are some names, potentials for some options, if you will. We can always change it.
Right.
You know, the first episode can get changed.
Right.
It's not out yet.
Right.
A huge mistake.
Ah, yes.
like
that feels like a better title now than it would have before we started.
I think so. Yeah. Don't forget also, we've got some fun names here too. I think this one's kind of alliterative and I like it. Check these chodes.
Jones is so good.
And the image would be me like standing in the middle, kind of hitching my thumbs back at you guys.
We're waving.
Yeah, check these chodes. 2 men and a baby.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Brad, you and I are the men.
Oh, good. That wasn't what I was expecting.
What? What the fuck? Are you fucking for real right now? We were supposed to be we talked about that. I told you I am not a baby. Next one, let's see. My two sons.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
That's a good one. Same image, me hitching my thumbs back. This one I really like, and we could seriously do this, okay? The good, the Brad, and the fugly.
You're not fugly.
No, I'm good.
No, it was turned on you so quick.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm all right with that title. I have no qualms with that
Brad the
either.
fugly is so good.
Wait a minute. How am I not the Brad?
That's a great name for like a porn. The good, the bad, and the fugly. It's like, well, I knew what I was getting when I read the title.
So funny.
Which role am I playing?
You're not going to believe this. This one with Brad in mind, and I think going after like a really popular podcast, kind of giving that imagery to
yeah.
people, but keeping Brad's sensitive ears in mind.
Thank you.
WTH. What the heck?
I used WTH in a text message today. Like 2 hours ago. Yep.
I like that. Now, keeping in mind, like, really common names that people know, common titles for things.
Right.
I think that's a fun thing. Maybe do a play on something, right?
Okay, yeah.
That already has the branding work done for us.
Yeah.
The Boy Spouts of America.
That one's the best. I love that. I love that one.
That one I actually did send you guys.
I love that.
Boy
one.
Spouts.
I hated it
I
then
love
and I
Change
hate it
one
now.
letter and it's horrifying.
I love the Boy Spouts of America.
And then finally, and we can always do this if you want to. I'm not saying we should, but if you guys love it, I guess we could do it. Ray Harrington must content with Brad Rohr and featured player Chuck Staten.
Beautiful.
That's good. Those are good. I want you to read the ones that we did send each other that we decided not to use.
All right, I'm gonna just kind of pick and choose here.
Yeah,
And to
do
be
all-
clear,
do all the funny ones.
Out of all of this, Funbearable won.
Yes.
Funbearable one.
Yeah.
We suggested not about hamburgers, which we said would only be accurate about 70% of the time.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Gout laws. We're like outlaws, but we all
But very slow.
Oh, this is so bad.
your mom's favorite podcast, the Reliable Comedy Option podcast, maybe not a podcast for shut-ins, the Drawing Board, Don't Trust Owls, No More Podcasts, the podcast, Cynthia's House, where we say that we're recording this at Cynthia's house, but Cynthia's never on the podcast.
That's funny.
Yeah, I
I
like
don't remember that.
Yeah. Cynthia's house. The idea of just like, we're here at Cynthia's house again. We're doing this, and oh no, she can't do it. She's busy. Okay.
Yep. Little Dicks, Big Hearts, the podcast.
Very Friday Night Lights.
Yes. The Frig Around.
Yeah.
Frig around. Yeah.
I Want to Do Sex with Kate Blanchett.
I mean, come on. Right?
Remember Lorna Doone cookies? How about the Lorna Dudes?
I think we could get cookies.
And Chuck responded to that by saying, Ray and I were talking and we're both 100% in favor of Crapple Dumpling Gang.
The Crapple Dumpling Gang is so fucking funny. I don't know why I love that.
Ray said, this is probably taken, but I hope you're happy. And then Chuck responded, this is probably taken, but taken. Smooth Move X-Lax. Sassy Boys.
Not
with an
bad.
exclamation
Sassy
mark.
Boys is fun, but I think people would be disappointed.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, I
too,
think they would
setting the bar
download it
too
like,
high.
this looks cool, and then they would listen to it and go, I don't get it. When do they get sassy?
The Rascal Fats.
Fats.
We had Big Top Gun, and it was specifically about working in a circus and a jet.
Yep.
Which we responded with Carrot Top Gun.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then Bottom/Top Gun.
Yeah, bottom Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the Hug Neaters, Unpossible, the Wet Diaper Gang,
Very scary.
Terrible.
Very scary and intimidating.
the Three Splooges.
We're so far away from anything reasonable at this point.
We had
That's why it took so long to come up with the name.
yeah.
It's because we're like, let's just throw out this dumb bullshit.
Three Splooge.
we had What Fresh Hell, or just
Yep.
Fresh Hell.
That's a reasonable one.
The Three Splooges
And
is so fucking funny.
pudgy little bitch boys with self-worth tied dangerously to public reaction, which is the most accurate.
That is very accurate.
But,
that is very accurate.
But too wordy.
It is, hard to
Even
put
as an
into a search.
acronym,
Yeah.
not a great.
Yeah.
Too
Yeah.
long.
Oh God, no.
Chucky, you have some ideas.
I have some that I didn't send you.
Okay.
So for a while, we were thinking, should we do a podcast 7 days a week, every single day? Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Considering that?
Yeah, a daily pod. Yeah.
And so we wanted to come up with a different name for each type of episode. Mm-hmm. So I did come up with all of them.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. Yeah.
There was Mediocre Mondays,
Okay.
Terrible Tuesdays,
Good. Yeah, it's going downhill.
Yeah.
Even Worse Wednesdays.
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah.
Then, thank God it's not. Oh, wait, it is Thursday.
I hate you.
And then I love thank God it's not. Oh wait, it is Thursday. Freaky Fridays where we all switch identities. Remember that? Then we did Synthetic Saturdays. We were gonna have like robots of us, like Urkbot.
Yeah.
That way we could have a day off.
Right. Good thinking.
And then Start Over Sundays.
Start over Sunday.
So we did that.
I thought Start Over Sunday is we were going to wipe our identities, and we were going to cut ties with everybody.
My go bag
Yeah,
is ready.
every week
Yes.
we would start over from fresh, and that way we would keep distractions to the podcast off the table. Nobody to distract us. I was going to leave my wife and son,
Yep.
start a new life. My name was going to be Trevor.
But the next week, no longer Trevor.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
All the connections that Trevor's made.
Garrett.
Yeah.
One of my ideas,
Lloyd.
I'm just gonna stick with Trevor.
one of my titles in general for the podcast was the ISIS dislikers, but then we didn't want to talk politics.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. That's
So,
true.
and
also you said you that didn't accurately
that was only
describe you.
67.
yeah,
7%
we could talk.
You
about
said
it.
you're 50-50 on ISIS, right?
So
I believe your exact phrase was, give him a chance.
I had
They haven't done anything to me. To me.
You know, I've read up on him. Not as bad as they made out to be.
it's really exaggerated.
They've got all those
The
Toyotas.
stuff they're showing.
Yes.
I had the geniuses of Smartsville.
I actually like that one.
And the dopes of R Wordsville.
R words.
I only like the first part of that one.
Yeah.
Thinking and Stinking.
Good.
Okay.
That one's pretty good.
That's one of those little painted signs that you can get. That's like it's wine o'clock.
Yeah.
Thinking and stinking is for your bathroom.
Yeah, you get a cross stitch.
Thinking Diarrhea Castle.
Oh, I don't even
hate
know what's going on there.
Yeah, is it made of diarrhea? Because if so, there's no
Is
structural
it a lost
integrity.
level of Mario?
I think it was just like a lot's going on.
Okay.
It's a real diarrhea castle. It's a lie.
You know the old phrase?
Oh my god.
Yes, of course.
I went to Legoland on a long weekend. It's
Oh,
a real diarrhea castle. A lot going on. It's just very everywhere.
We got to keep that. If a situation
Yeah,
is
it's a
like
real diarrhea castle.
I got a kid screaming in the back. I got a tire alert
That's
on my
actually-
dashboard. I got a guy trying to merge. It's a real diarrhea
a
castle.
diarrhea castle. That sounds right.
It does not sound right.
It sounds like a good description. Goblin House.
Yep.
I like that one.
You know what? That was in ours. And then you said, I don't want to do that one because I don't want people to think we're actually goblins. That was your follow-up on Goblin
And also,
House.
I think you wanted a little sign over the doorway to your bedroom,
Yes.
right? So you could say
Also-
to ladies,
Yeah.
"Welcome to the Goblin House."
Also on his belt buckle.
Yeah. Welcome to the Goblin House.
I came
And
up.
then it says Goblin King on his belt buckle.
I came up with the bat, the cat, and the penguin, but then I remembered that was the tagline for 1992's Batman Returns.
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
Yep. Wrinkles and cellulite. Right.
Oh no.
This one's one of my favorites.
That's an
know.
infomercial on at 2 a.m.
Or it's a search term on a very specific website.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I know Ray's gonna love this one. Ouch, you're pinching it.
Welcome to Ouch, You're Pinching It.
I don't know why ouch, you're pinching it. It's so fucking funny.
And how do you spell? Ouch, you're pitching it.
The final one was just the judge says you're not supposed to call here anymore.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Ray Harrington. The judge says you're not supposed to call here anymore.
That's very fun.
Yeah,
That
we had
is
a lot
very
of titles.
fun.
Actually, we're approaching the end of the episode.
Yes.
And that's one of the issues is
Oh,
how
it's
are
a
we going to
sign-off.
close?
Well, here's the thing too: is like I had some predictions of how things were going to go, right? And I would say exactly dead on, right?
Yeah. Perfect.
But there was also some concern, like moving forward, what's going to happen.
Right.
I thought for sure there would be a point of contention between Chuck and I.
Yeah.
yeah.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did figure that at some point we would have to cover a pretty large topic here, and I think one of the fun things is we used to get into it a little bit
yeah.
about Jurassic World on your previous podcast.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that I'm here, okay, for the foreseeable future
Yes.
with this podcast.
Right.
Friendship, who knows? But for the professional endeavor of this podcast, I'm here,
Right.
and I will be here for all of the upcoming Jurassic World sequels.
Yes.
Jurassic World 4, The Blue Protocol.
That sounds great.
Yeah, Jurassic World 5, Destination Unowen.
Oh.
Jurassic World 6, the Jurassic World Holiday Special.
Okay.
Jurassic World 7, Jurassic World versus Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
Jurassic World 8, Rise of the Hitler-Don. Oh, no. Jurassic World 9, Fall of the Hitler-Don. Oh,
No, I grew to love him.
no. After that, it's back to zero. Total rebranding.
Wow.
And it's just called The Jurassic World.
Oh, that
Right?
makes sense.
Yeah.
That flops. Back to the sequels. Jurassic World 10, Big Jaws. Jurassic World 11, How Hammond Got His Groove Back. Jurassic World 12, Into the Dinoverse.
Whoa.
It's getting interesting.
I like that.
Jurassic World 13, Infinity Roar.
I like that one because my name is sort of part of it.
Yeah.
Jurassic World 14, Rex and the City.
Oh.
That's
good.
fun. That's
That's
fun. Jurassic World 15 is a soft reboot that they're simply calling The Park.
Oh.
Jurassic World 16, it's a hard reboot, and they're calling it The Park 2 featuring the Raptor rap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I love Jurassic
I'm
World
here
versus,
for all of it.
versus Planet of the Apes.
I
It's
knew you would.
amazing.
It's
I
a
love
joke,
it.
and you're like, I'm half hard. When's it come out?
Yeah, I really like that. That would be quite a battle.
Who would win? Well, the apes can use guns.
But like the
thinking
humans,
about
Yeah, apes can use guns, and they can form a government.
but the humans in Jurassic World 6, Jurassic World Dominion,
Yeah.
Could use guns and had a government.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah.
The dinos
Some of them,
still.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Some
I
of them
mean,
get
at the
chomped.
same time, like they didn't even address really the dinos, right? So that was more like bugs.
How committed are the apes to preservation of a new species?
Right.
A lot going on there.
And
A lot
I
of
think
subtext.
also you could split the apes
Yep.
real easily, to different factions of apes.
Civil War.
Ape Civil War.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
They tried that. Did you know that in the South during the Civil War, the South they tried incorporating apes into
No, they
the
didn't.
Civil War. Yeah, they did. They
Whenever
really
I
did.
hear
Sounds right.
Whenever I hear like there's a thing in history where like someone tried to bring animals into like their side, I'm always like, fuck yeah.
It didn't happen. By the way, I was doing a goof.
I will say
me.
we
Never happened to me either.
we try.
I never gave an ape a gun.
and then showed him a target of Brad.
I never handed a handgun to an ape and then quietly whispered to myself, "This is how it starts."
America tried to use bats in World War II against Japan. They tried to train bats to fly into like
And drop bombs or something?
barns, yeah, like with little incendiary charges on them.
Yeah,
but
that's
there
right.
was no reliable way, not safe way, reliable way to get them to wake up in time to fly to where they needed to roost. So they never used it.
Wow.
They considered it.
I love it.
Yep. Fun facts.
But yeah, we gotta figure out the sign off line thing. So what are you thinking?
I came back, I closed the Chuck and Brad podcast by saying deuces, and I regretted it probably 3 episodes in that it was a
Yeah,
thing.
I wouldn't want deuces.
Yeah, no,
Really?
so it's not going to be deuces, but I had some ideas.
You have real ideas or
Who
fake
knows?
ideas?
Oh, I have fake ideas, of course.
Okay, yeah.
Ideas.
Basically,
ideas.
we'd end with like something, whatever. Goodbye, and we hope that you got your rocks off.
Okay,
Good,
good.
we want
I hope
that.
that too.
If we had done not about hamburgers, we would end like saying goodbye, and then like I could go for a hamburger, like kind of like we're walking away. All right, boys, let's chain some daisies.
Oh boy.
That's uncomfortable.
I like that.
And then, a trifecta. Sorry about the stench. Apologies about the aroma. And oopsie for the odor. Really stretching that last one.
That's
the
yeah.
weirdest.
And then good night and good grief.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not
So
bad.
those are ideas.
Maybe we just have a blanket apology.
Yeah,
At the end?
honestly, most of the ones I came up with were
sorry.
some form of
Yeah,
apology.
like, hey, this is thank you for listening to Funbearable. I'm Ray Harrington.
I'm Brad Rohr.
I'm Charles Staten.
We're very sorry.
So sorry.
We're
and
so
just
sorry.
we're
I'm
so
so
sorry.
sorry.
Thank you, and we're sorry.
Yeah.
And we just apologize over each other. I'm so. And we
So,
tried to-
really,
I'm
honestly, I'm so sorry. I'm probably the
I
most
wish I
sorry
hadn't.
out of everybody
Yeah.
here.
I am probably the
couldn't
third
believe it.
Very
most
most
sorry.
apologetic.
I did the
Don't
thing.
do this.
Filled
to me.
with regret and shame. Shame is
yeah,
probably
lots of shame.
We could do that. Maybe a
That's
muttering.
Right.
Maybe we could just say. Maybe we don't say anything, but maybe we have a song kick in, and it's Shania Twain, and she says like, "Let's go, girls."
That don't
Yeah.
impress me much.
Different song.
Yeah, sure.
Wait,
we
say
could end with that. I'm Ray Harrington, and that don't impress me much. Yeah.
But he has a car. I have a couple. I only have 3. I got one. This is the first one. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Right?
Feels like that's
I
from-
like the weakness in the voice when you do it.
very similar to,
This one
to
is
the
this one is-
apartment. That's the
ready
way
for-
it crumbles,
this
cookie
one,
wise.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any of us can say it. It's just. But it hurts.
I don't like the connotation of that.
Again, if I think if we had named the podcast "Ow, You're Pinching It,"
Yeah, right. Yes,
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And then final idea. Hey, give me that. And then it's a lot of slapping sounds.
I don't think we have it yet. I don't think we have it. I really
we're
don't.
close.
Yeah, we don't.
feels like we were
that is
close
a
on
hard
the
thing.
the smell ones. Though.
I mean, I struggled with Must Content to have a final thing.
Did you have a final thing?
I never did.
Yeah.
I never did.
Yeah.
It usually ended with an awkward bye, right? Like that's how it kind of ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we end this.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things I did think about.
What if every week we audition a new ending until we find one?
That's pretty good.
All right.
Right? One of us has to bring it to the table each week.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So week 1.
Week 1.
Let's go alphabetical.
Yeah, I like alphabetical.
Wait,
That's actually awesome.
H for
With your
Harrington?
last name.
No, first names.
Crud.
Oh, you know what I
But-
like?
but-
Actually,
before we-
I did come up with a real one.
Okay,
I came
good.
up with a real one. I
Thank
forgot.
goodness.
You're like,
Well, I wanted to. I was gonna do the waffle on
he was
it.
going to throw up.
I did
Yeah.
come up. I came up with a real one, and this is a real thing, and I'm throwing
Okay.
it down the middle. If you don't like it, that's okay.
Okay.
Here's what it is. Like we talk, we laugh, we have a good time, we joke, we squeal, we have the good back and forth,
Right.
And then eventually we kind of come to the moment where one of us says something that's a little bit over the top, a little bit much, and we're getting to the end of the episode, and whoever wants to do it goes, I'm Chuck Staten. And you know that starts the ending. And he goes, I'm Chuck Staten, then I'm Ray Harrington, I'm Brad Rohr, and this has been Funbearable. And the person whoever wants to do it can start it.
Oh, okay.
So I might be like, like if you're like, oh, he never met a minor he didn't kiss. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what about, what did I say?
Oh, yeah.
Webster. Webster. What about Wee Man?
You almost said Gary Oldman.
Very different show.
Yeah.
If I
Very
say, what
different
about
show.
Webster? What about Wee Man? Then Brad could go, I'm Brad Rohr, and we could
But
start
here's the
it.
issue. I think most of the podcast, if we're just going off of the trigger being saying something that went too far,
Oh, we might
then
want to go
it's
into
just
that
only
far
going to be
thing.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
the
if
podcast will
that.
end 5 minutes in.
Yeah,
we
okay.
will have to go to the outro during the intro.
Yeah, okay, all right, good call. All right.
You know?
My only other idea was Brad has a thing every week that he writes called his update.
Yeah.
For about 40 years, he's been like writing like a weekly like 2.5 page summary of his previous week and sending it to 100 people. I've been kicked off the list.
That's correct.
I'm not allowed on the list to see his update.
That's too much Chuck in my daily life.
Do you know why?
yeah,
you know
yeah.
why I'm kicked
Because
off
he'd
the list?
keep correcting me.
Yeah, because he would lie about me in them, and I would speak up. and he doesn't. He likes propaganda.
I don't like being in the middle
Anyway.
of this.
Hold on, but here's the thing: the way he ends his update every week is he chooses some lyrics, and that's how he ends it.
I do. So I have a 706 song playlist saved with all the different like weekly update
Yeah.
things. Because
you
my
know what?
brain is broken.
I like that for you
Yes.
and your project.
Yes.
What about the fact that I'm not on it?
I'm okay with that. I'm neutral.
Yeah.
I can understand why someone would want to maybe, have something be exclusive, right? I would like to know why I'm not on it.
Anyway, Funbearable has socials. We should probably talk about those.
Yes.
I did that.
Yes.
I
Good
got
work.
them all.
Well, what are they?
We're Funbearable Pod on Instagram,
Everything.
Twitter. We're on Facebook. It's Funbearable. Facebook.com/FunbearablePod, and our website's funbearablepod.com.
Yeah,
So we're trying to keep it all uniform.
I like it.
I did spell each one a little different, just for fun.
Some L's are ones. It's a whole to
Some
do.
threes or E's.
Yeah.
And then
A's
some,
are apps.
Some F's are tens.
I've said that before.
Yeah.
I've said that before at the beach. Some of these F's are tens. Wow.
These are F's, but they're also tens.
Tens.
Yeah.
And then we also have to decide when we will put in kind of sponsorship stuff.
Yes,
That's important
yes.
as well, because I had an ongoing sponsorship
Right.
in Must Content.
Right.
And basically what I'm saying is I don't want to give up my free shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My free shit that I get.
Yeah.
Right? Which
Yeah.
is tricky. So maybe I can throw in now while we're just like a Cooper's Cast coffee is really good.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard about
Yeah,
Cooper's Cask coffee.
Thank you. I like Cooper's Cast coffee a lot. Their Peruvian cold brew beans are fantastic. I
we
just want to say that real quick, but they're great. And I love them, and you should get them at cooperscoffeeco.com. I remembered it off the top of my
There you
head.
go. All show, we should say all show?
I'll share.
Ultra.
We should say.
Our email address. We have an email address.
Write in. Tell us to quit.
Funbearablepod@gmail.com. And so if you want to write in, we'll read it. If you want to sponsor us, that's where you contact us. Funbearablepod at everything.
Perfect.
We really are at a point where somebody has
Yes.
to say.
Well,
it,
all
though.
right. So this is Ray Harrington.
Hi, I'm Ray Harrington. Bye, I'm Ray Harrington.
This is Chuck Staten. I'm Brad Rohr, and sorry for being Funbearable.
That's pretty good. That was
thank
pretty
you.
good.
I'll take it back.
That's the first one.
Do it with
awesome.
more emotion.
Okay. Well, I do it as Mike Tyson, as Woody Allen.
If you could get one lone tear dripping down, perfect.
I just think about how sad I am that Chuck isn't on the update list. No tears. No tears at all.
Nothing's coming.
No.
Dry.
I'll pinch
Dry
your
as a desert.
testicles.
I think we're done.
Ow!
You're pinching it.